ZilckSound.
You're tuned into ZilckSound, where business gets real, trends get broken down, and you walk away sharper than when you hit play. Brought to you by Zilck.com. Practical news for the modern entrepreneur. Now, here's your host, Rob Henley.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ZilckSound. Thanks for tuning in again. Tonight we'll discuss a popular favorite, and of course I'm talking about personal brands. However, hold on. This isn't another podcast about why personal branding is bad, not at all. This isn't one of those threads where someone calls LinkedIn a cringe factory and everyone nods and scrolls past. And it's definitely not going to end with a framework for authentic personal branding, because if your authenticity needs a framework, it's not authenticity, it's a performance, and you're probably exhausted by now. Marketers, we know how it goes, we know the drill. Here's what this actually is: an honest look at something I have watched play out in my own marketing career and in the careers of people much smarter than me. The moment personal branding stops being a tool and starts being a substitute. So let's start climbing this mountain. About 4 years ago, I worked with someone, call him David. David was building a SaaS product, a genuinely good idea. He'd found a real problem, built a working prototype, and had paying customers, not many, but paying customers, real money, real usage, real feedback. Then around month 8, David stopped building the product. He didn't quit, he just shifted gears. Same routine every morning: LinkedIn post, Twitter thread, podcast pitch, coffee with someone who might be a good connection. He hired a ghostwriter, he bought a ring light. Meanwhile, the product, the thing people were actually paying him for, sat untouched for 6 weeks, maybe more. When I asked him about it, he said something that stuck with me: I'm building my personal brand. If people trust me, they'll trust whatever I launch next. I didn't buy it. Here's what that really was: fear and doubt dressed up as a content calendar. People get too comfortable around personal branding talk, assuming everyone's fine having one. It goes like this: you need a personal brand because people buy from people. Your network is your net worth. In the creator economy, you are the product. All three are true enough to survive a tweet. The theory isn't the problem. The problem is the feeling that every hour you're not building the brand is an hour wasted. The guilt of opening your phone at 10 p.m. because you haven't posted today and the algorithm punishes inconsistency. The guilt of thinking about your positioning more than your actual product. Right now, there's a whole generation of founders convinced that visibility equals viability. It doesn't. The restaurant that needs a billboard on every corner probably isn't very good. The founder who needs to post 3 times a day to stay relevant probably hasn't built anything worth remembering. Let me give you a cleaner example. Think about the people whose personal brands you actually respect. Not the ones on your feed, I mean the ones whose names come up in conversation, unprompted. The ones whose reputation walks in the room before they do, even after 6 months of silence. How did they build that? I'll tell you what they didn't do. They didn't tweet 10 lessons from my morning routine. They didn't post carousels titled my top 5 negotiation tactics. They didn't work a room hoping the next person had something to offer them. They did the thing for years. They got so good at it that other people started talking about them. And by the time somebody called it a personal brand, it wasn't one anymore. It was just a great reputation for top quality work. Big difference. And that difference is everything. A reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. A personal brand is what you say about yourself when you're afraid they'll forget you. Here's the truth. For most people, personal branding isn't a strategy. It's an anxiety management system. It's what you do when you're not sure the work is enough. You do this instead. You create some noise so you don't have to sit in silence and ask yourself, is this product actually good? Is this business actually working? Am I getting better at my craft or just better at talking about it? That gap between how it looks from the outside, crushing it, building in public, thought leader, and how it feels on the inside, that's not a personal failure. It exists because you're pouring your energy into the wrong container. Performing perfectionism is bad business. Perfectionism is just imposter syndrome with better branding, ironically. And personal branding is often just procrastination with a ring light. Yes, believe that. Not always, but often enough that we should say it out loud. Now, I'm not telling you to delete LinkedIn. I'm not telling you posting is pointless. And I'm definitely not handing you a personal brand audit checklist. because that's exactly the performative noise we're talking about. Here's what I will tell you. Next time you sit down to write a post, ask yourself one question. Am I doing this because it serves the work or because I'm afraid of what happens if I stop? Think about it for a few minutes. And if it's the second one, close the laptop. Go build something, talk to a customer, read a book that has nothing to do with your industry, especially that last one. Underrated piece of advice. And if you're in marketing, read a French recipe book. You're in tech, buy a photo book compilation. You're in finance, get yourself a poetry anthology, and so on. Go be interesting instead of trying to look interesting. The key takeaway from all this, and there's a big reveal, is this. You're allowed to be good at your job without performing it online. You're allowed to build something quietly. You're allowed to let the work speak first and let the brand follow later, or maybe never. Some of the most respected people in any industry have never posted a thread, filmed a reel, or worked a networking room. They're too busy being great, working with their goals, and being indispensable. So what's next? The next right move is whatever makes the product better, the service sharper, the work undeniable. At some point, the next right move is just the next task, not a post about the task or problem. So build the thing, make it good, solve the issue. If people start talking about you, let them. If they don't, build something better. Private, constant, and unrelenting creation is almost a cheat code, and there's so much money and time being spent trying to show that we're doing something that people often forget to do the actual thing, to create. And you don't have to imagine it because it happens all the time until you do the work. First, let's do it. That's all I have for you tonight. And thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to join us next week in another episode. I'm Rob Henley, and this is ZilckSound.
ZilckSound. ZilckSound.